Hi everyone, I'm Walia and I'm going to be introducing you to Grape, which is a digital grocery inventory. Today, 1/3 of the world's food that's produced is either lost or wasted, which means that we're using limited resources like our 25% of our freshwater supply to produce food that's never going to be eaten. Put it together with the fact that the world population is increasing, which means that there's more demand for more food to be produced. And climate change is already making it impossible to meet that need because of the scarcity of resources that we have. So all in all, our planet is being affected in very obvious ways because of food waste. But you and I as individuals are also being affected by food waste in very invisible ways, such as the cost of it. An average household in Poland loses about 560 euros every year because of the food they waste. Now imagine what you could do with that extra cash every year. So why do we actually end up wasting so much food? Research, surveys, and honestly common sense tell us food is it's perishable, it expires. You can only consume it within a limited time frame. And if you don't, it ends up going to waste. Sometimes in our houses and pantries, we have a collection of items that we don't know how to combine. And when we don't know how to combine them, they end up going to waste as well. And we have a tendency to do bulk purchases thinking they're cheaper, but we don't have enough time to consume those bulk purchases. So that ends up going to waste as well. So even if the whole entire food ecosystem became more efficient, individual consumers are still responsible for over 50% of the global food waste that occurs, which means that the solution to solve this problem lies within us and our own behavior change. So how do we want to solve it? Well, we've created a digital inventory that can help people keep track of the expiry dates of the items that they buy and also find inspiration on how to use them up efficiently so that instead of wasting that food, they can save the money they've spent on it, reduce the food waste, and reduce the impact on the planet. So this is what it would look like. There's an app interface that you can navigate through a dashboard. You can see the items available to you. You can see how you've been spending. You can also get an insight into how much food you can potentially waste. And it would begin with you starting to take a photo of the receipt that becomes digitized into items that can be added to your digital inventory, where they will be tracked based on the expiry dates. And the ones with the closest expiry dates are placed at the top. Additionally, you'll get notifications of when items are expiring together with the amount of money that that item is worth and the impact on the environment so that you're motivated to use it up before it goes to waste. So these are the features that we're going to include in our MVP launch in the fall of this year to test in Poland, so that next year we can add more analytical features and also inventory-based recipe suggestions so that we can create and engage a community around that as we scale the app further through 2022 to other countries. And we've already validated this idea because there's over thousands of people on Facebook groups advocating to be zero waste or trying to save money by meal planning or efficient consumption. So people are already trying to achieve this lifestyle. And people also try to keep track of what they need to buy and what they already have through apps like Listonic and Pan Paragon, like in the millions, to create digital inventories of their own. But these ideas haven't yet been combined together to solve food waste specifically, which puts us in a really unique spot in the competitor landscape because all of these other solutions are focused so much on user manual input that they need to put an effort to track what they have and what they're buying and not on what they actually even have already. So they're not encouraging people to use up what's in their pantry, what's in their fridge. They're actually telling people to buy more and consume more, which drives the problem even further, while we're trying to achieve the exact opposite through a more convenient way. So our target market looks like this through a survey that we conducted where we're aiming at females between that age group. And if we can capture about half of the ones who pay for digital subscriptions already, that's about almost 1 million users in Poland, our starting market, and can scale up to 15 million users across Europe. When translated to this, we're hoping to charge a subscription fee of about €1 for a basic version that can pan out to about 12 million euros of revenue in Poland, and if we scale it up to about 200 million across Europe with the basic and premium distribution that we've put together here. And to put this together, we've got a pretty diverse group of people from varied expertise in tech and design, as well as marketing and finance. And we really believe we can bring this forward and actually make a difference in the world of food waste. So thank you. That's great. Open for questions now.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Let's start with a question from the jury. There's one in the chat from Mike, so I would suggest we start with that.
Hi, yeah, so if you're scanning the receipt, how do you get the expiry dates from the grocery receipt?
Sorry. Where's the...
So you mentioned that you're scanning the receipt.
Yes.
I don't know if the receipts are different in Poland, but at least here in Finland, the receipts certainly don't have any expiry information on them. So how are you getting that?
Maria, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, sure, I can answer that, no problem. So there are actually two different types of expiry dates. One are use-by dates, and ones are basically one of them tell you that you have to use a certain item by a certain date, and these are for fresh produce, so meat, yogurts, etc. And there are different kind of expiry dates for non-perishable products like pasta or crisps, for example. And we will have two different solutions to get the expiry dates. So for the dry items, which are not very high risk and people can actually consume them safely post the expiry date, we will develop a deep learning system which basically will estimate the most, most common kind of expiry date for the dry products. And for the fresh produce, because it's very, very important that the expiry date is actually safe and it's correct and the same as on the product that you purchased, you will be able to either scan the date from the product with an NLP scanner, so automatically you will get the expiry date onto the inventory, or you will be alternatively able to input it for a very easy to use zipper, which will give you the expiry dates. So just to sum it up, for the dry products, it will be automated and you don't really have to spend a lot of time doing it. For the fresh products, we want to be as accurate as we can, and we will use the actual dates from the products.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions from the jury?
I'll think of one. The challenge, it seems to me, for lots of apps like this is to get stickiness. So there can be a novelty, someone will download something and try it, but to keep them using it, to keep them incentivized to do something. And given that we've known that food waste is a massive problem for many years now, and as you rightly pointed out, it's a behavioral problem, yet still it seems very hard to change people's behavior because perhaps they don't value the food sufficiently in the first place. So how really changing behavior is not an easy thing to do. How do you think you're going to achieve that?
Okay, so yeah, definitely behavior change. It's a difficult thing, but I think it's because it's so invisible to us. Like, we don't know what the value of everything we're throwing away is. That's why we're trying to firstly show it through the application itself, through visuals, how much money, and tracking how much money is being wasted every month or every week, or how often people end up throwing away, because it'll be a learning procedure. You'll discover the patterns as you learn about the behavior that people have every month. Okay, they threw away bananas this month because they got expired. So that's an amount of money that goes away that they could have potentially made use of. And to show the amount they're wasting. Besides that, as we go forward, we obviously have to build on the database that we're learning with the patterns of behavior to actually make more effective ways to change behavior. But then bringing in this whole inventory-based recipes can kind of instigate that change unconsciously. Like, it's already happening on these Facebook groups. There's thousands of people like sharing techniques and ways to sort of improve how you consume and be more efficient in consumption. And if we can pull that sort of community into the application as well next, based on your own inventory and what you have, that can also engage more people in a fun way, and they're actually making use of the items that they have rather than making them go to waste, per se. That would be at least the first sort of 2 ways.
Yeah, and just to quickly build on what Walia said, with our recipes, we are planning to make an interactive feed of the recipes. And the innovation here would be that you will be able to look at the feed of recipes, which are posted by your friends, by people in community, by professional chefs, etc. And the recipes on your feed are based on your inventory. So what you see on your feed is only what you can make with your current inventory, which one is helping us, help people use up the items, and it's not encouraging further consumption and further spending. And two, because it's a feed, it's very interactive. You can like the pictures of different recipes, you can share them with your friends, you can kind of interact with different people, you can post different pictures of your own recipes that your friends can then kind of like. So the interaction also comes through the actual feed of recipes and interactive with different users.
Okay, thank you. That's interesting, and I'll just leave you with a thought there that you might also need to consider, how do you include what people already have in their pantries, in their larders, in their cupboards and drawers, because they're making food and recipes out of stuff they already have. So there'll be a lot of, combined with Mike's point about expiry dates, I suspect there'll be quite a lot of heavy lifting by the consumer in order to get real utility as well and value out of the app.
Yeah, there needs to be a proper onboarding procedure as well. So yeah, we're definitely looking at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the very elaborate answers to these questions. Unfortunately, we're out of time now, so we have to move on to the next company to pitch. But thank you very much once again for the great presentation.
Thank you.